Well, here we are, another week in various states of isolation. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. We're all experiencing it at a certain level. There's over 3 billion people in our position. That's a lot. And for the first time ever, we're all dealing with something new, depending on where we live. And for us in the West, it's particularly impactful because we thought we lived in a democracy, except when you know who took the reins, our democracy was suspended. They just forgot to mention that. And this is why we have no rights now. Everything supersedes individual rights. Now, of course, this was a segue to interject the global goals of Agenda 2030 into our system, because our sovereign powers, when it comes to dealing with this entire situation, this health crisis, became the responsibility of you-know-who. And the power was removed from our respective governments as to the protocol. Now, the protocol that you-know-who has decided on has been putting us in various states of isolation. And what I'm understanding and seeing now, because I have contacts from all over the world, is that there's a blueprint of sorts, and it's rolling out bit by bit in stages. And I'm sad to say that I'm seeing that people are still thinking that we're coming out of this, and we're not. People were looking to Easter. I knew at that point there was no way. Summer is on the way. Trudeau just came out and he's saying 12 to 18 months. And you know that that's baloney. And there you have to know this is not about a virus. It's not. We're inside, so we can't get together. We're inside so that we cannot have one-on-one private discussions with people. So we can't meet in groups and discuss our opinion about what is happening to us. They are literally slicing the human connection. Why would they do that? Well, they do that for control. Because if we all get together and start talking rather than sitting in our homes listening to the propaganda, the jig will be up. It will. When people realize that the facts don't add up, we're going to start to organize. We're going to protest. Right now, today, the RCMP in our country now have the right to come to your home and search you to make sure you're in quarantine if you are a traveler. All they had to do was shut these flights down, and that's why you know this is all by design. It was meant to get to this point because all of this was a plan. And here we sit inside, waiting for a vaccine that is absolutely unnecessary because, you see, there were 2,600 cases of the flu last year in Saskatchewan. They say there's 267 now. And what's really interesting is that a friend who knows a doctor here in Saskatchewan yesterday who was told it was only 16. Pretty scary, huh? I wouldn't mention that stat if I didn't trust the woman. This is what's going on. We've got politicians complicit. We have health professionals complicit in the fraud. And we still can't believe that they would do this. Yet, it's been done before. Hitler was the one who coined the phrase that if you create a lie so big that it couldn't possibly be true, they'll never believe it. And that is true of many. Yet, maybe it's just my feeds, but I'm telling you, people are starting to wake up. They're detecting the ruse. And everybody's finding their way to that ruse in their own way, whether it be through the medical end, through the fact that our freedoms are being taken away. The details. In China, everybody had to have a mask. Gotta have a mask. Now, here, we don't think you need a mask. Come on. This is the ridiculousness of it all. There are so many holes in the story. The facts don't lie. And there is no outlet to ask questions. And they've made it pretty hard to discuss what's going on. I've confronted these issues many times in my life, so I understand that sometimes when you're given a box, you have to work with it. I see the proposals of people that are proposing to get out and mass protest about this. You got to know, this is the war. We've got martial law, War Measures Act. We've got states of emergency. And this puts you in a whole new category, and they know this. This is why they've done it. They anticipate that things are going to get nasty because the virus isn't the only thing going on. As you'll notice, your food system is being gutted. Producers are being told to dump their food, dump the milk. We've already got in the store levels of what we can take. And this is going to continue. What people still aren't getting is that we have entered a whole new reality. What existed before no longer exists. Now, for someone like me, well, this has actually inspired what I believe to be my life's work. It has. So I'm rebounding out of this, but all too many are not because they're still looking at the old way. Every structure you thought you had, every protection you thought you had, that's gone. You've got to understand that. Your government is giving you a payout right now, in which I don't qualify, and many people who are entrepreneurs and free thinkers, we don't qualify for all of that. And yours is only going to last so long. The ultimate goal here is to strip you of all your wealth, everything you've acquired. And if you're poor, to make you even poorer. Because at the end of the day, the whole idea is to equal us out, to create the egalitarian society that supports the circular economy of the plutocracy. The 1% that caused all of this, that masterminded it all. This is the most important time in our entire history as Canadians. There has never been a time where We need to be called to our common sense. And you know what? Not just Canada, every single nation in the world. We are smart people, but we became complacent, and it was all by design. To rely on these weak people, because we had better things to do. Didn't want to get involved. Didn't believe in ourselves. And here we are. We've been calling our politicians traitors for a long time, but we kept trying to work within the system that they gave us. And I'm saying there's no way to work in the system that they gave us. We have to create a new one, our own playbook. And that's what I intend to do. In fact, I got my first donation. I've never asked for one. In fact, I've never asked for any help. I haven't. Except it got dire. And it became time that I had to believe in myself and what I'm doing enough to know that this is my mission and that I have to do it. So I reached out to a like mind, and here we go. Right now I'm getting myself organized, meaning more settled than I was last week, because honestly, I've been running on pure blind faith since I dove into Agenda 2030 in January. Pure blind faith to the point that things were getting turned off regularly. And I just had to keep believing. I had no choice, because I could see what was happening, and I see that many still don't. And we got to wake up. And the woman who decided to invest in the cause understood that very well. She's a European. She's also in her mid-70s, so she understands freedom and what's happening to us. We are entering a land where we're going to have a passport to get out of our homes. And the whole idea is to lock us down and then to throw us bones in which we can negotiate our way out. And for that, we're going to have to give up our medical freedom. This is what they want. So, for example, a person like me who chooses to go about her life in a natural way, respecting Mother Nature and working with what she was given, and has turned around every health condition in her life, I won't be able to do that anymore. I'm going to have to submit to their system, which means getting vaccinated. Basically, what's going to happen here is that we're all going to be marked diseased until we're marked safe by a vaccine. Now, you remember when the marked safe thing came out? That was Mark Zuckerberg, right? Facebook. After a natural disaster. The marked safe? Yeah. What's going to happen if we're not complying with their will is we are going to be limited in our life. So, for example, and of course, right now, the social credit system is actually being inspired by people who don't value their rights. We are going to be in a position where we have to literally betray ourselves in order to pursue life the way we want. Now, of course, life isn't going to be the same, but if I want to travel and get on a plane, for example, I'm not going to be able to do that without the vaccination. If I can get a job with one of the handful of corporations, of course they wouldn't hire me, but I'm talking about you. You won't get that job if you don't do what they say. It's a complete integration of everything. Just like the economy, the circular economy is all integrated and centralized, so is everything and will be everything in our lives. They are taking away the seeds so you can't grow your own food. What's going on in your grocery stores, you've got to know, this is literally the gutting of the system to the sustainable way. It's never going back. And I'm pretty sure that all that sugar everybody's addicted to is going to get pretty hard to come by, because the whole system is designed as all one, meaning it has to operate effectively. So you people who've inspired your own health problems, well, they're not going to let you do that anymore. Again, your choice. This is, again, the most interesting time I believe we'll ever be in, but also the most horrifying. I never thought I'd see it in the Western world. I heard the stories that they wanted to take our herbs and supplements away, and that they wanted to control the food. And I've been talking about that for years when it comes to GMOs, promoting organic. And it didn't materialize. Yet, it's set to. If we accept this, we are not only doing a disservice to ourselves, but you are betraying your own children. We need to get over the fear. Because you know what? I was fearful. And I had been made fearful over the last few weeks because I have had incidences where I've been followed and scared. But you know what? I'm no longer fearful. I'm not. We can't be. You know what? Fear is in our minds. We need to break the spell. We need to talk. We need to do everything they don't want us to do within the parameters of what we got right now. But mostly communicate. Talk to your nearest and dearest. It's like being in a sociopathic relationship. Once you give your power over, they don't give it back. And we are dealing with a cult of psychopaths. You got to know that. Only psychopaths could mastermind the biggest fraud of our time. It's time to rise, people, to rise to the occasion and start those discussions, because things are going to escalate. I'd love to hear from you on my Facebook feed or even in these comments. Tell me where you're from, what's going on. I'm comparing stories from all over the world. I want to do a video of the stories I'm hearing from each country. So it's imperative to get all that information together. And I'd like to do it over this weekend so that I can have a bit of a timeline to compare what has been happening. I'm on my mission. And I'm hoping you're going to join me in free thought, common sense, and recognizing what's right before our very eyes.